it's not just nostalgia. It is actually a really cracking film. And it builds directly off of Spider-Man 1, which we covered a couple of weeks ago on Lads Hour. And it did really well in its own time. People were actually like, oh, right, actually, this is a superhero film that has some substance to it. That's not just, I mean, like, because you may remember the Batman and Robin films that we also covered on Lads Hour, actually, that they were just horrifically cheesy. I mean, I'm not going to say they weren't funny, actually. They were funny.
They were fun, they were funny, and I think the thing with those later Batman films at that point, they weren't trying to be hugely serious, and I think it was just it was the expectations of the Tim Burton ones where it's like, oh, superheroes can be dark now, that really made that contrast stand out.
And it feel like a regression to people.
Whereas Joel Schumacher, he was like, no, I just like the big colourful campness of the whole thing. I'm going to highlight that, and it's just not what people wanted.
And what's really interesting about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is how real they are. Like, if you know what I mean, like the whole actual series of films revolves around the personal relationships of Peter Parker around him. And then you get these odd moments where it's just a very normal scene of something very normal. Which, I mean, a great example in this is where Peter says to Aunt May, no, it's not your fault that Uncle Ben died. I'm the one. And he explains it, and she goes off without saying a word, and then the next day he's just like, I'm really sorry, and she's like, don't be, I really love you, I love you more than anything. And it's just like, that's just a really normal scene.
Yeah, and it feels like a very real interaction, and this is something I was saying to Luca right before we started, which is it weaves together that emotional, relatable storytelling with the superhero stuff in a really natural way, because the superhero stuff is not at such a large scale as you find these days in the Marvel films to overshadow the emotional nature of the story. You watch something like Avengers, and the last 40 minutes of that film are
this world-ending cataclysm.
Yeah, it just overwhelms whatever interpersonal stories the film was trying to tell before then. With this one, the actual ending of the film in terms of stakes isn't too far off of the kind of really cheesy, overdone, blue laser's going to destroy the world, except in this way it's a big yellow sun is going to destroy half the city. But it's localized and done in such a way that it doesn't take away from that more personal story that Peter's got with both MJ and with Doc Ock. It doesn't overshadow.
They're the only people
stakes
in the final fight. There are no civilians, because these are the people you care about.
It in fact weaves all of these stories together. So yeah, it's really, really good. Even now, and the special effects are incredible, actually.
Yeah, they change between the first film and this film. They both change it to a more widescreen look, and also they change the color grading. So this one's a lot brighter, and the colors. And the first one looks great anyway, but this one pops a lot more, and it's a really great looking film. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, but the in particular Dr. Octopus I thought was incredibly well realised. The actual tentacles, arms, I don't know what we call them.
Tentacles, yeah.
I think I'm just going to call them arms because it's easier. But
feels less Japanese.
Yeah, yeah, it does. They look superb, and they feel weighty throughout the entire film. They feel like they're real. And so the whole thing, there's no sort of breaking of the suspension of disbelief with them.
No.
The whole thing just really ties together nicely.
So I watched it and reviewed it for the website. Did you watch Black Panther?
I did.
When it came out. So do you remember the end scenes of that where...
CGI combat,
terrible.
The CGI combat, how floaty it felt. It felt like it had less weight than PS2 game.
It was terrible.
Whereas you're right, this one has that weight to it, especially when he's approaching at the cafe and he's doing the stomps, and you get the camera shake, really great audio design with it. Oh, it's fantastic.
But also when he's like climbing up the buildings and stuff, like the things clamping into the building. It's not just, again, it's just nonsense.
They tear away at the bricks going up.
Yeah. It looks really good. But anyway, in its own day, back in 2004, so 21 years ago now, it was very widely acclaimed, received a lot of praise for the emotional weight and the visual effects. It won the best visual effects at the 77th Academy Awards. Oh. So, good to see. And again, that's quite unusual because, I mean, even then, superhero films are like...
Was it Daredevil? Ben Affleck's Daredevil came out the year before this.
I actually didn't watch that.
Me neither.
I think Daredevil and I think Catwoman might have came out the same year as this film as well. So the Spider-Man films were like a one gem in an ocean of shit.
Oh yeah, all of the superhero films are basically just crap. until that point.
It was this and X-Men.
Yeah.
And even the first X-Men...
Yeah.
Second one's good.
Yeah.
First one,
But
and
then it starts going off the rails, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, completely going off the rails. And another problem with X-Men, like with superheroes, is that the directors and the writers don't know where to limit the people's power, right? But actually, in this, what you get are serious limitations on Peter's powers. I mean, when he's trying to stop the train, you think, okay, but it's a train, you're a superhero. Surely you can just do that. But he's almost dying at the end of it, where he's, with the face.
Yeah.
Which is, again, just so great. It feels a lot more real, and it feels that Spider-Man actually has some stakes. Like with Wolverine, I don't know what can kill Wolverine.
In the comic books...
The adamantium bullet, isn't it?
Even then, in the comic books, they had to resort to go to ridiculous lengths to kill off Wolverine. Because comics have this terrible habit of every 5 to 10 years or so, they'll go, oh, we're killing off your favourite characters to try and generate buzz so people buy the comics and say, oh, I've got this issue. So in the death of Wolverine, they had it so I think he's engulfed by a load of liquid adamantium that basically dries on him and freezes him in place so he can't break out of it. So whether or not he's actually dead or not,
that's the problem.
Is up in the air, and of course they like it to be up in the air because then, like 5 years later, they were like, Wolverine's back.
But the kind of like Wolverine is essentially a magical character at this point. His regeneration has just got no limits, whereas Spider-Man does have limits, and that's actually one of the good things about him. But anyway, right. So let's get into the story. So things aren't going great. Can we play these? Can we play this in the background without any sound, please, Jack, if possible? Just while I'm waffling on. So as you can see, Peter Parker is working for a delivery, working as a delivery boy,
working for the diversity.
Yeah, for an Indian in New York City.
What did Raimi mean by this? Like, in terms of how low his life is starting.
To be fair, I kind of like that the guy has ridiculously strict principles.
Yeah.
Where he's like, right, we deliver in 29 minutes or less.
If he doesn't pay for it.
Yeah, it's a guarantee.
Yeah.
And then he holds Peter to his own principles and fires him for it.
It's because it costs him money, because he didn't pay for the pizza, right? So it's actually a business thing. But Peter, this is 2 years on from the original film where Norman Osborn dies. Peter's struggling because he's trying to be Peter Parker, nephew or son, basically, student, and trying to earn some money. And he's also trying to be Spider-Man in the evenings, so his life is basically falling apart. J. Jonah Jameson has done his very best to slander him in the Daily Bugle. And Harry Osborn is seething over Spider-Man being apparently responsible for his father's death, and the fact that Peter has taken photos of Spider-Man, so everyone knows he knows something about him, but he won't give him up to Harry. So he's quite upset about this.
It's such a wonderful opening sequence.
It is.
Yeah.
Sorry, just that bit where the guy turns and there's a load of pizzas on his balcony. Hey.
Then he's like, he loses the... Oh, there we go. Got a slice out of it, at least.
Did he, though?
Well... I like the guy making the best of a bad situation. It's like, oh, whatever.
I got the one slice. Yeah. Oh, no. Nothing in this life comes for free, buddy.
Yeah. But anyway, so Peter gets fired from this because he sucks.
He's like 5 minutes late, so yeah.
Yeah, he sucks as a delivery man.
And if he hadn't faffed about so much with this as well, maybe he'd have made it in time. Maybe.
Yeah, there's something really endearing about Tobey Maguire generally in this, actually. I don't know why. Like it's this sort of scene where it's just like...
He comes across a bit bumbling because
he does.
He's just some normal, awkward kid granted superpowers, and it's through those superpowers that he's able to like self-actualize. But one thing I want to highlight about this is just a great sequence by itself, and it's really entertaining. But it's the perfect thesis for the rest of the film. It's the rest of the film in miniature, because the whole conflict of Peter Parker is his ability, now that he has chosen to become Spider-Man, he's gone all in after the events of the first film, to be able to balance those responsibilities with the rest of his life. And that's kind of why the speech that the the pizza guy gives him is quite interesting, because he's saying that this whole thing is a promise, and promises don't mean anything to you. And why is it that he broke that promise? Because he decided to sidetrack himself with Spider-Man business.
Yes.
Now, he did save children, which is important, completely justified, but it's weighing those decisions over the rest of the responsibilities in his whole life. Because the whole thing with great power comes great responsibility. It's not like you only have one responsibility in your life. You have sets of responsibilities that you have to weigh against one another.
And also, if I may, the other thing is that with the first film, him becoming Spider-Man is really born out of guilt for what happened to Uncle Ben, and that call to responsibility that Uncle Ben had tried to instill in him. But this film is trying to figure out whether or not he really wants to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, whether that guilt has to be his driving motivation.
Is it all guilt, or can you actually be Spider-Man and see it?
Or is Peter Parker, just outside of that, a good person who wants to help people?
Yeah.
And moreover, the capacities that he has as Spider-Man allow him to do things that a regular person can't. So he can hear things and see things. Oh, there's a real problem, and actually I could help. So a regular person would be like, well, when he sees all the police driving by, and he's just like, you know what, this isn't my business. Like a regular person would, that's exactly what they would say, and you wouldn't feel guilty about that, because you'd be like, well, why would I get involved? But if you're Spider-Man, actually, maybe you do have an obligation. Anyway, then we're introduced to Dr. Octavian, because Parker is failing in his studies. Don't play this one yet. He's failing in his studies, and his professor is like, pull up your boots, and he's like, oh, well, I'm going to write a paper on Otto Octavius. And the professor says, oh, he's a friend of mine. Go do your homework. And they end up getting introduced. And the relationship that Otto Octavius has with Peter Parker is actually really good and established really well, really, really quickly. But what's the name of the actor playing
Alfred Molina?
Right. He is just so charismatic, so superb. And what I love about the character is how he's so very human, right?
He's kind of what Peter wishes he could be.
Absolutely. He's got it all he's got it all pinned down, right? Because he's a successful scientist, but he's deeply in love with his wife, and the relationship with the wife comes through really, really strongly. And the way that he warms to Peter as well comes through. It's like, oh yeah, no, I've heard of you. You're smart, but you're lazy, and so he starts taking on a sort of fatherly role. I mean, like, no, you've got to actually pull your bootstraps.
Kind of a bit like Willem Dafoe in the first one, because Peter's got bad luck with father figures.
He does, but you're exactly right, and he really starts warming to Peter, especially when he starts learning. Do you have, but the bit where, do you have a girlfriend? He's like, I don't know. It's like, what do you mean you don't know? You should know. You can't.
It's a yes or a no question.
Yeah, and love's a horrifically complicated thing. So it's not science, for Christ's sake. That's something you can easily figure out. And so the relationship between them is really wholesome, actually. And you see that Otto is a very good man, right? And this is another consistent point with the Sam Raimi films. The villains are not villains, actually. The villains are almost kind of, well, I mean, they're the victims of their own hubris in many ways.
You also
Otto
see
in
that
particular as well.
Yeah.
But also the Green Goblin, when he goes into the thing and the mutant.
Yeah, he's trying to save his business and save
Exactly.
his reputation. He's not trying to be malicious.
Yeah, he's not trying to be evil. And yeah, exactly, neither is Otto.
If you would like to see the full version of this premium video, please head over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to gain full access to all of our premium content.